Good, so you're used to me. Everyone else, don't worry, it'll be fine. So I'm Tanya, I'm a giant nerd, and I'm here to talk to you about how security is everybody's job. We are going to talk about today DevOps, and then changing it into DevSecOps. And that means making security a part of your daily work. So this is a talk aimed at developers, but it's for all of you. So who here writes code? Okay. Who here does operations? Okay. Who here does project management? Okay. Who here manages people, so you're a cat herder? Yeah? Okay. Who here does security as part of their job? All the hands, 100% of the hands. So by the end of this, I want everyone's hands up. Oh yeah, I'm just making an announcement. I'm moving to Victoria in 2 weeks permanently. Yeah, I'm moving away. So I'll just have to love you from afar. Wait, what's happening? What's going on? What?
It's a devious plan. So you know when I said something about embarrassing me? Now it is our turn to embarrass you.
So it is my honor to present you Tanya with an OWASP Lifetime Membership OWASP Chapter Leader Award, especially made for you.
I just need someone else to take a picture.
I've been part of the chapter for a really long time. For all of you that don't understand.
We have these awards every time, so.
This is the best because I had my closer so we all fit. This is going on my hand. We got
Made in stone. They're made of stone, you can't break them.
Yeah, pretty close.
All right. And now to the regular part of our program.
Okay, so obviously I can't beat that. I have stuff to give away too after this swag from conferences all over the world. But it's not as good as that. And I also have candies for people to answer questions. But I feel like they really stole my thunder, but in the best way that it could possibly be stolen. Oh, okay, so back to DevOps.
No crying.
I agree. This is how some people see DevOps. Who's seen this before? There is the magic DevOps rainbow poop being cleaned up by the security person. That's not what I believe DevOps is. I believe it is us, the security person, enabling the DevOps pony, feeding the DevOps unicorn, teaching the Pegasus while it continues to poop rainbow poop that, as Nancy would put it, secure poop. This is how we view it, us enabling the DevOps team to get their jobs done securely. So with that, I'm Tanya Janca, and sometimes this is me. I really like the Montebello Rock Festival. And on the internet, I'm She Acts Purple. You might have noticed the hair. I I work at Microsoft as a cloud advocate. I didn't know that was a job either. Apparently my hobby can pay. And I'm totally obsessed with OWASP. I'm so obsessed that I've had 2 different artists make really nice images for me to share and make stickers of. And I'm one of the founders of WOSEC, Women of Security. So if you're a woman and you haven't heard of that yet, we brunch and bitch once a month. We crash events together as a group so that you get lots of girlfriends with you, which is awesome. And then we have women-only spaces for learning, so it's like a bit less weird. No offense, but if you're like the only woman and there's 100 dudes, sometimes you feel like you're a zebra because everyone's staring at you as though you were a zebra. Also, I am part of the OWASP DevSecOps project with Nancy and a bunch of other awesome humans where we do nerdy DevSecOps things in a sloppy manner. Let's learn stuff. Okay, so I'm going to give you a bit of some background on AppSec, only to make sure we're all at the same place, because when people come to a meetup, I don't know how much they already know. So for all of you that are like, I know all of this, it's going to be 2 minutes, and there's going to be a lot of cute cartoons, and then it'll be over. Okay, so what is AppSec? Every single thing you do to make your software more secure is part of application security, or AppSec. Every single thing you do. So remember earlier, Julian was saying you could grep things? Yeah, you can grep your code looking for vulnerabilities, like specific things that you know are wrong, like an old function that's no longer acceptable where you work. You can also do a secure code review that's really formal, like Paul talks about in his awesome blog series that you should all read. Or you can do less formal things or more formal things, it doesn't matter, but if you're trying to make your software more secure, it's considered an AppSec activity. Oh yeah, I said that. So, why is AppSec a problem? It's causing lots of incidents all the time. So we're the winners again, so I don't think so 2018, we caused the most breaches. Software vulnerabilities cause more breaches than any other cause. Guess what's next? Point of sale systems, where there's money. This is us again, winning. So what else is a problem? So we're not really teaching application security in school. Who here took some sort of software engineering, computer science class in university? Do you feel that they taught you how to make secure software? No. Did you even get to take any security courses whatsoever? Yeah, exactly. Not reasonable. Okay, so, and when they do teach it, it's usually like role-based access control is a thing. You should probably look that up on your own time. It's not good. Also, see how she's alone and sad? That's security. If you look at the numbers, there's usually 100 developers for every 10 operations people, for every 1 security person. And I have never worked somewhere where my numbers were this good. Usually, the numbers are way worse. I have worked places where there's 400 developers, or 600 developers, or 2,000 developers, and then I'm like, hi, I'm Tanya. And then it's like someone has pointed a fire hose at a cup for 2 years, and then that's my inbox. Please help. And so that's not good. So then you can't work harder, gotta work smarter, right? Okay. So this is an image my friend made me, another artist. This is dinosaurs frolicking, happy in a waterfall. I send this to people when I feel passive aggressive. So the company security model for waterfall was never great. I affectionately call it stop and wait while I use some security. Like, no developer or operations team is going to just stop working while you do a code freeze for 3 weeks while you review code. It's just not a thing that's going to happen unless your code review's over Christmas Day, right? And so, so in comes DevOps. So I'm going to talk about the main goals of DevOps and how I feel that they're actually in line with security's goals. Then I'm going to explain the 3 ways of DevOps, and then I'm going to give you, I think, 21 different ideas of how you can add security to each one of the ways. Then I'm going to give you a whole bunch of free resources at the end, and then I'm going to give you candy and stickers. Does this sound good? Yeah. Not bad. There will also be a lot more of this cute raccoon doing stuff, just as an FYI. Okay, so does anyone feel super brave and want a maple candy and is willing to tell me one of the main business goals of DevOps? Does anyone feel super brave?
More money.
More money. Okay, so could you say that slightly differently? Would it be perhaps getting to market faster?
Sure.
See how easy that was? Does anyone else feel brave enough to say one of the other main business goals of DevOps? Okay, I'm going to keep this candy for after because you are going to answer more questions. I'm really mean. It's interactive.
Or really good.
So good. Pure maple syrup, you know that's really hard to get. That works in other countries. Anyway, so we want improved deployment frequency so we can get things out there fast. We want faster time to market, and we want lower failure rates. We want stuff to stop breaking. We want our customers to be happy, right? So what does this have to do with security? Okay, well, let's look. Improved deployment frequency. What does this have to do with security? Again, a candy option. Oh, you're tired. Julian made your brains work too hard. Took up now the hamster's looking out the wheel. It's like, oh, it's too tiring. Julian, you stole my brain power. Just kidding. Improved deployment frequency means security emergencies can happen right now. I used to work somewhere in a waterfall environment, and they told me they had a 16-month release cycle. 16 months. That's more than a year, right? I'm not even going to work here then. And their emergency, the sky is following release was 4 months. But with DevOps, it's like, oh yeah, as soon as that's fixed, like, I don't know, I could get that in there in 8 to 12 minutes. Like it's very different. And that is in line with security stuff. So lower failure rates. What could this have to do with security? So if stuff's not failing very often, what would it be? Someone back there knows the answer, but you're not going to get candy because you're not loud enough. Okay. Resiliency. So a lot of people will go to the cloud, they do a bunch of things, they do DevOps because they want resiliency. Who knows what this is? This is the mandate of every IT security team on the planet. It is to protect the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability of the systems and the data that all of IT creates and maintains. That's our job. That's why we get paid. Well, if we look at this again, resiliency means it's always available. So DevOps is kind of, again, in line with what security wants. Okay, last one, faster time to market. This is a really hard one. If you get this one, you get not only a sticker, you also get a candy. People are like, you're going to give us those anyway, Tanya. Pretend I wasn't going to. So this is a tricky one. Security doesn't win if the business doesn't also win. If your business goes out of business, there is no security team. If you, as a security team, are doing all these things to stop the business from succeeding, you are in the way. You are the threat to the business. You are the risk. I remember telling a security team once, because they just basically stopped and ended a product that we were working on. I'm like, you are literally my main risk to this project. Like, you are the risk, not hackers, not anything else. It's you who won't get out of our way. We can't do our jobs. And like, usually I try to be nicer, but seriously, security doesn't win if they don't have a job, right? Okay. So now, oh, this is me again, quoting myself. Apparently it looks smarter if you put it in quotes. So in my opinion, DevOps is the best thing to happen to the security of software since OWASP. This is the highest compliment because I am obsessed with OWASP. So this is pretty good. Okay, so DevOps and the 3 waves. So my definition of DevOps is the DevOps handbook definition of DevOps, which is, I feel, a really good one. A lot of the other DevOps definitions are hard for me to kind of put my hands on and understand how to go and do it, but their definition is a thing I understand how to do. For a candy, is anyone willing to name one of the 3 ways of DevOps? Flow. More. Feedback. That's one, fast feedback, fast and regular feedback. You get candy. Good job. Okay, I'm going to tell you the other ways. So the first way is efficiency of the entire system. So when you're developing software, if I work really hard at making my part faster, but the whole thing is still slow as molasses in January, it doesn't matter, right? So it's about making the entire part faster, and sometimes that means I tell my team I'll be back in a week, and I go and I help this other team that's stuck, right? So the entire system needs to go fast. The next one is fast feedback. So it's the other way. It means I want to know what's going on as soon as possible. The main reason why waterfall did not work very well for software is that we weren't getting feedback until like a year after we started building the product. We would wait so long. Who's seen those comics about waterfall where it's like, oh, this is what the client asked for, this is what they actually wanted, this is what was built, this is what the testers thought, and it's like all these completely different things. And with DevOps, you get feedback constantly so you know you're on the right track. And the last way of the 3 ways, which is the thing that the OWASP DevSecOps project does all the time, is continuous learning. Taking chances, taking risks safely, doing experiments, and learning all the time. So if you are not learning all the time, you're not going to get better, right? And one of the big things that I've seen in tech is these super senior engineers who haven't been on training in a decade because they're like, if I take 1 day off, everything will fall apart. I'm like, yeah, it's because you haven't been on training for 10 years that everything's going to fall apart if you leave 1 day. If everyone was monitoring like Julian, things would be a lot better. It's okay that I keep mentioning you, right? I like your talk. It's good. He's not on Twitter, so then I can tag him. I tagged some other dude named Julian. He has a lot of followers. He has like 45,000 followers, and I was like, this is him. Sorry, off track. Okay, so let's look at each of the 3 ways, and then let's go through how we can add security to them. So this is the main thing of the whole talk. So first is emphasizing speed the entire system. So this is my amazing graphic. See that? Yeah. I am not good at graphics. But anyway, so we want to focus on adding security. We want to make sure everything goes fast, and that means security needs to go fast. So we can't be that bottleneck anymore that no offense, we used to be. We are. Some of us are. Okay, so the main thing is making sure everyone is not waiting for us all the time. There's lots of different ways we can do this. But this is not a talk specifically aimed at security people generally. This is a talk for developers, so I'm going to give developer ideas. What does this mean for developers and ops? It means we need you to help us tune our tools. So if we send you a false positive, oh my gosh, tell us. I never want to send you a false positive. If I somehow did that, I need you to tell me immediately so I can make sure that my tools never do that again because I just wasted your time. If I waste your time twice, that's criminal. There's a dude at the back that needs in. I have a viewpoint where I can see him. It's okay. So another thing is if you have this amazing pipeline, everything's going through it, and you're doing security checks, some of them are really bad, and they're going to break the build, right? And I know that we're not popular when we break the build. I respect that. But everything else that doesn't break the build, that needs to go into the defect tracker. And don't mark it red while I'm not looking, or that you fixed it, because I'm on to you. And I've seen developers do this, and then I go into the bug tracker. So all of you security people, go look and see if it's actually fixed. Sometimes it's not. Okay. What else does this mean for Dev and Ops? It means, whenever possible, using templates of things that have already been tested to make sure that we are implementing something that's secure. I used to work somewhere, and we would make custom apps for all these other departments, and everyone wanted to log in. Yay, passwords! And so we made one, we had a tester come and test it, we had another tester test it, and then all of us would just reuse the same one. A lot of places, each team still uses their own things. They're not using templates. You can make templates for your containers, you can make like templates or policies for VMs, and you can do this for software too. Another thing is help us set up regular scans of your operating system. So if you have virtual machines, so you have pets, not cattle, let us set up regular scans. If you're gonna have containers where you obliterate them every time and put a new one in, let us scan it in your pipeline with something like Clear, or is it called Octopus? I know I'm saying it wrong, and it's a different tentacled creature. But you want to scan those before you put those out. You never want to, every single chance you get, if you're going to put something out, you want to take a scan first. Scanning is not as good as having a pen tester manually go through things, but guess what? It costs almost nothing, and it's really fast if you do it right. Okay, we'll talk about that a bit more later. But yes, I feel this is evident to everyone. Only deploy up-to-date images in containers, but I have to say this because I have worked at places where they have a gold image for 6 months. And it's the same one. It's on a CD. What are you doing? That's not gold anymore. Right? Like, patches are coming out all the time, so you should definitely only be releasing up-to-date images, but you won't know that. Okay, I'm going to have photo slides. So I think there's going to be 4 photo slides where if you are like, oh, I like taking notes, except I don't like writing, you could take a picture of this with your phone and then you would have all the notes. You can also just see me do this talk on the internet because there's other recordings. But I personally like having notes, so if you want to do this, that's cool. I do this and not put so much words on the screen, because when you put words on the screen, everyone reads them and no one listens to you, which is probably what's happening right now, because there are a lot of words. That's cool. Okay, so next, what else does making everything faster, the first way of DevOps, mean for us? It means if the AppSec team creates a parallel pipeline to your build pipeline, so let's say you have a regular pipeline and you are like, you're allowed 20 minutes worth of things in the pipeline because you're really generous for security tests. That's cool, and then that goes to production, right? But if we create a parallel security pipeline, it's asynchronous and it just goes nowhere, but it does that 8-hour test that I really want to do. Please run that for me on Friday so I can come in Monday and see what that 8-hour scan did, right? And I can pick through those results and then add those fixes to your backlog for perhaps the next sprint, right? So if they make a parallel security or asynchronous security pipeline for you, please use it. That's so nice. Another one is always make sure your software supply chain is secure. And by that I mean, in your pipeline, use at least one tool, but preferably 2, to check all of the dependencies of your code. So most apps right now, something like 80% of them are all libraries and plugins and frameworks and blah, 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 blah. If you are using one of those, which you are, trust me, unless you're writing assembler, you are accepting all the risk of that framework or of that plugin or library or whatever cool new jQuery thing that is the bane of my existence as a security person. You need to just, I don't mean like scan the actual code and look at the code. I mean, there are systems like Sneak, Black Duck, SummerCube, Dependency Check, etc., retire.js, where they will just look, oh, you're using this version, you have 5 NuGet packages, great. These are the versions, great. That one's vulnerable, upgrade it. It's so fast, and why should you use more than one? Because guess what? We don't share yet as a nice society. Security people want to make money, so they're all doing different research and looking in different ways, and that's why you want 2, because they're both going to have different results. And if you use 3, you'll still get different results. It depends on how much time you're allowed in your pipeline. Okay, oh yes. Help us tune your tools for your sake as well. Okay, next. Who here has heard of unit tests? Everyone does unit tests, right? You have complete code coverage? I love that you got the joke, it's good. Okay, so unit tests are where you test like a tiny little bit of code, a unit of code, to make sure it does whatever it's supposed to do. That's a positive test. Does it do what it should? Good. So I'd like to suggest we make negative unit tests. So that would be, does it not do what it should not do? Can Rick make it do his bidding instead of what it's supposed to do? Right? So like, let's say you take this unit test, a positive unit test, and then you add malicious input, right? So you put in, I don't know, a single quote, 2 single quotes, a double quote, etc., etc. And then you make sure that it fails gracefully. If you can get, so like let's say you have 30% unit testing coverage. I know, we're gonna lower our heads in shame, but if you have that and then you let an AppSec person get their little hands on it and they add in some malicious stuff, you could have a 30% regressive security testing of your code every time you run your unit tests. That's kind of amazing, right? I know you have to keep them up to date, and unit tests are like not easy and instantaneous, but oh my gosh, it's really, really cool, and you can get a lot of stuff done. Okay, so this is slide number 2. There's a whole bunch of tools that do a whole bunch of these things. A lot of these ideas that you might see on these slides, Nancy and I do a lot of them on our little show on the internet, so we'll show you how to use these things or how to do these things and talk about the things, sometimes with the person that made the thing. Because I was doing these talks and people are like, well, but how do I actually do that? It's like, just went on the internet and did it, and then people watched it, so that was cool. Okay, faster feedback. This is the second way of DevOps. Remember, we have 3 ways, so second way, life is going okay. Is everyone still with me? How many people are food drunk from the pizza? Okay, so not that many, it's good. You're doing great. Okay. So right to left. So this is feedback. So again, watch this amazing, right? I know you're like, did Pixar make that? So pushing left, that's what I call this, pushing left or shifting left. Starting security earlier and doing it the whole way through, right? So getting feedback right away in the requirement stage, during design, code, etc. Okay, so let's talk about money, because I find the easiest way to convince my boss was before this one. So my current boss is like a super nerd. He's like just as nerdy as me, so I can just use nerd logic with him. But previous managers liked money. So if you show them how much cheaper it is to fix security bugs earlier, they're usually pretty interested. I got permission to launch my first AppSec program when I showed them how much it cost us to manage like 9 or 10 AppSec incidents versus allowing me time with the developers, teaching them how to use Zap, helping them fix very basic bugs and bring our security posture up so it was like, went from pathetic to okay. And then all of the script kiddies had to go bother someone else. And then it was only nation states from then on, I like to think. Okay, so maybe we weren't like that good, but anyway. But the point is when you explain to them how much money that they could save, managers listen a lot better. Okay, so forget money. What does this mean for security? Well, it means shifting left, right? It means we get to find out about security things earlier. This makes all the security people happy. I'm not gonna go, who here has heard of shifting left before? Okay, so do you want me to explain more in depth, or are you like, oh my gosh, just go to the next slide?
Next slide.
Next slide, okay. Wait, more? More? Okay.
More.
Right. I'm just gonna give an analogy to explain. Okay, so imagine you're building a house, right? So you've saved a ton of money for a bunch of years, and then you're like, okay, I wanna have like 9 bedrooms, because I have 8 kids, and me and my spouse are gonna be in the really big bedroom, and we're gonna have 2 living rooms so that the kids can just leave us alone. We have all these plans, and we're very excited. And then they're building the house, right? You've given them your requirements, they made a design, they're building it, and now they're like right near the end. And they're rolling out the carpet, putting handles on the cupboards, and then your spouse says to you, oh my gosh, sweetie, we have 8 children. Why did we only ask for 1 bathroom? It's immediately obvious. It's immediately obvious that that is a threat, right? Like 9 individuals are not going to be pleased with 1 bathroom, no matter how nice they are, how much they love each other. That's not going to work out in the long run. But if they had thought about risks and security and looked at their design or looked at their requirements early and evaluated these things, in the requirements phase, how much would that bathroom have cost? If they're like, oh, we need 3 bathrooms, not 1. How much would that have cost? A couple $100. In design, oh crap, just realized there's no bathroom. We should add it there. Costs more, but not as much. But at the end, where do you think that bathroom's gonna go, that second bathroom? Where's it gonna go? They're gonna make someone's bedroom really small, right? How are they gonna get the water to there? So it's gonna be in a weird, awkward space next to the kitchen. Is that bathroom gonna be nice? Is it gonna be the perfect bathroom? It's gonna be like spaghetti code, like Band-Aids. It's not gonna be great. right? And it's going to cost a fortune, and your project's going to come in late. And security bugs are exactly like that. So in requirements, you want a security person to look at the requirements. Oh, you're doing file uploads. That's risky business. Please allow me to give you some requirements so that you do that safely. During design, threat modeling. Where's Garth? Where's Garth? Threat modeling is Garth's favorite thing. This guy will talk to you about it day and night. During design phase, you want to talk to a guy like Garth, so he can tell you about threat modeling. Like, oh, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Who are people that might want to attack you? What does your business need? What does your business care about? What do the developers care about? Where are the worries? And he's better at it though, because that's what he does all day long. But the point is,
my nightmare.
he has an evil brain, and it's great because he's a great threat modeler. But if you do security the whole way through, if you start at the beginning, if you find that threat with Garth, instead of with me, my previous job, the pen tester, do you know how much that costs when I find it? Less than when you've called me as an incident responder. Because then it's the most expensive. And then you have to inform the privacy commissioner that there's been a privacy breach, or you have to write all of your customers and offer them free credit monitoring. So that is the most expensive, embarrassing, humiliating, and damaging time to find a security problem, is you want to find it earlier, and that's why shifting left is so important. Is it good? It's okay? Yes. It's my favorite topic, so Okay, so what else does this mean for DevOps? So please tell the security team what you are concerned about. If you tell us, then we might actually do something. I know some security teams suck at listening, so sometimes you have to tell us in different ways, like in an email, and then you tell our boss, and then you make a comic about it, and then you email it to us. But some of us are better at listening than others. I personally like to make proof of concepts of me breaking things. I'm like, see that? Or, oh, it looks like prod. I'm like, it is prod. You want to start out nice first though, right? Honey instead of vinegar. But so feedback goes both ways. So I want to quickly tell a story about Netflix. So I kind of have like a crush on the AppSec team from Netflix. They're so cool. They do a lot of cool things. They're the ones that made Chaos Monkey. Has anyone heard of that? Chaos engineering. It's pretty cool. So they made this thing called Repo Man. So when you watch a movie, they like spin up an instance and it's like doing stuff for you. Well, they felt that each one of those instances had too many privileges. And they're like, they don't need all those privileges. So Repo Man started repossessing some of the privileges, and then it was breaking people's movie watching experience. And since their whole job is to bring us fantastic entertainment, that was obviously not ideal. And the developers and the ops people were pissed. And so they told the AppSec team, and then the AppSec team took down Repo Man. And then they gathered, and they talked, and then they came up with Repo Kid. And so every time a new instance would go out, they would watch it. So like a new type of instance, right? So it's like, let's say it's, I don't know. I don't know all the inside business things. I just know all the things they told me. So like a new type of service, and then they'd watch it, and it's got a default set of permissions, and they'd be like, you know what, they've never used this permission, and it's been a month. Let's take it away for an hour, nothing, 2, 3, 4, and then it would just be permanently removed. So they started doing this, and they repealed something like 75% of all permissions in their entire infrastructure. That's out of this world. That's the most amazing implementation of least privilege I've ever heard of. And they didn't piss anyone off, so they still got to go to all the parties. And you want to go to all the parties, right? Like, how are you going to get to know the dev team and the ops team if you don't spend time with them, right? So the point is if we don't listen, there could be a whole bunch of problems we don't know about. I've done lots of different types of activities to get to know developers, to get to know ops people, to allow them to trust me. Once they trust you, they will tell you all sorts of scary things happening in your organization that you did not know about. You have to show them they can trust you. First of all, don't scream at them. That's the thing I learned. Anyway, okay. Here's the thing with super fast feedback from my friend.
You had to learn that?
Yeah, my first security job, I actually flipped out on someone who had broken a policy that was very, very bad, and did it behind our back and lied to us, and then I yelled at him. But then it took me 6 months for us to make up, and he was in charge of a lot of things, and it's not like he was going to get fired. And yelling at him is not the way for us to actually fix the problem. So I'm going to talk about that. Don't yell at people. But for reasons other than just that you shouldn't do that. see this. So my friend Clint did this. So he works somewhere and they want people to stop using this MD5 hash. MD5 hashes have been broken. They're not cryptographically secure anymore. But they didn't want to break everything. So instead what they did is they created this little wrapper. So every time someone would code it, they would immediately use like IntelliSense and change it to say non-cryptographically secure MD5 instantaneously. And the developer would go, oh, shit. And then usage went down 98% without pissing anyone off. And then after a few months, they went and they asked the people that were still using it why they were using it. And they're like, hey, what's up? We see you're still using that. Like, what do you need it for? Can we give you something better? And then they actually found out why the developers were using it, and again, didn't piss people off. This is instantaneous feedback. You can't get faster than that. We need to invite people to participate in security activities with us. If there is an incident, we need to actually tell ops and developers before the incident, like train them and tell them what we want from them and need from them. And if there is an incident and it's appropriate, we need to bring them into the room with us and ask them questions. If there's threat modeling, we should invite a developer. We should. They have the most evil ideas. And they know stuff we don't know. We should have security sprints. Do you know what that is? That's not a code sprint where you catch up on other things in the backlog. It's actually where you fix security bugs. Yeah. More. So we need to involve them more in our business so that they will involve us more in theirs. Okay, photo number 3. Oh yes, breaking the build if you introduce serious security issues. This is the hardest one to get across. You cannot break the build for a load. No one will like you. You will not get far. Life will be bad for you. But you definitely should if something really big happens, right? And that is the thing that you're going to have to talk with your developers about, because they're not going to like it. Because breaking the build, who here has broken a build before? How unpopular did you feel? That's not good. Especially if you aren't the developer on the team. Okay. Oh, wait, and the last one. Security becomes a part of the definition of quality. You can't have an awesome app if it's not secure. If it's fast, beautiful, does all the things the client wanted, and I own it in under 5 minutes, it's not high quality. Okay, so continuous learning. This is the third way of DevOps. So everything comes full circle. I don't have cute ASCII art this time, I'm sorry. But basically, prioritizing learning. I'm going to stand on this side for a bit. What's up, Tanya? Okay, so what does this mean for security? It means every single moment is a teaching moment. I see Clayton, he's like, yep. Does everyone know the Shopify AppSec team? Some of them are here. We've hired. They're awesome. They're probably hiring. Then you'd get to work with Clayton. Do you know that they've won the B-Size Capture the Flag every year since they bothered attending? They're just like, Mom. Are you blushing? No. I'm working on it. I gotta get all my teasing in now, right? Until I visit. I'm gonna visit. Okay, so what else does this mean? So it means creating a reward culture. So I find security teams show up when things are bad, and then no one sees us when things are good. What if we did a pen test, and then people did a good job, and then we bought them donuts or something healthier, right? There's like a lot of ways that we could do like Pavlov's dog, where when they do a really good thing, you reward them so that they want to keep doing the good thing. Give them stickers, give them high fives. I used to work somewhere, and I taught everyone to use Zap. Right? I taught everyone to use Zap. Zap's awesome. Did everyone know that Rick is one of the main contributors to the OPS Zap product? It's a dynamic application security testing tool that is free. Yeah, that's right. No, you do deserve it. I use it a lot, for real. Off topic though, but when they would catch bugs, I would run up and give them high fives, right? And one day I was talking to like one of my managers came by, or directors or whatever. I'm like, just a second. And I run over to this developer's desk, and then I high five him, and then I run back. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, AppSec. but if you make it fun, it works better. Okay, so what does this mean for Dev and Ops? We should, so let's say let's go back to the security tab. I know you're like, it's not like we don't have anything to do later, Tanya. Okay, everything you do in security, where you find a bug, if you find a thing that's wrong, you can teach this to developers and you can make it a lunch and learn. That is how I started speaking. This all happened because they were like, well, if you want them to stop doing that, Tanya, you have to find a way to tell them. This works. Invite them to OWASP. Host OWASP, not in this city, in other cities. We have a long-term relationship, just kidding. But like, I can't stress enough that the security team needing to teach the developers and needing to teach the ops people what they need from us. I felt I didn't get that across enough. So what does this mean for dev and ops? If we invite you to training, please come. You can train yourself. I'm going to share a lot of free resources at the end. And share information widely when you fix a bug. Whenever I start somewhere, I ask, oh wait, that's going to be in the next slide. If there are security activities or simulations of incidents, please go. So this is the best one. Ask for analysis. So you're the AppSec team. You can do this, right? Get all of the stats from the previous pen tests and scans for the previous year, and then pick the top 3 and make a lunch and learn of those 3. I'll do you a favor right now and tell you what your top 2 are, because they're the same everywhere. Cross-site scripting, and everyone ever is allergic to security headers. Security headers are really important. We should use them. I'm not going to start on that. But find out what the top things are and then give lunch and learn on that, because that is the thing they clearly need to know the most, right? So if you are part of a dev team, ask the security team, what are we doing the most that's bad? You might be surprised. And the last one here is that if you perform a post-mortem after an incident, so who performs a post-mortem after an incident? All hands. Okay, so first, if there's an incident, after you should have a post-mortem where you discuss what happened, discuss how it happened, and discuss how you can make sure it never happens again. And it's very important, if you want people to trust you and like you, that you do not yell at them, that you do not blame them. You're like, Alice did that, and Bob did this. That's not what happened. This safeguard was missing, and that's what happened. This policy, has this big loophole in it. Or no one even got any training on this, so no one even knew there was a policy about it. Right? And then you can figure out the actual root cause. I know that's very tempting to be like, this person did it. But that doesn't actually fix anything or get us anywhere. Okay, photo slide. These things. This is the last photo slide, I believe. And once the phones are down, I will go to the next slide. So then there's a few fun slides and then resources, and then you are all free to go. Okay, so security is everybody's job. And this means culture change. Right? So if you do all those things, but you don't continue to support this culture, it could leave. Okay, so reinforce culture change. Celebrate wins instead of just getting upset when there's losses. If there's a pen test and you get good marks, if you do a security sprint, if you handle an incident really well, if you release a bunch of security fixes, celebrate. Even if it's just an email saying everyone did a good job. Sometimes people are like, well, that's their job, that's what they should have done. I'm like, well, maybe you're not a fun person. Maybe you shouldn't speak for our team. Right? Like, culture is the main reason why people decide to or decide not to work somewhere, right? So you can be a positive part of the reason why they want to keep working there. Work more closely. So what if you actually spent time with the developers or the ops folks? What if sometimes you had a coffee with them? What if you went and met some of them and asked them what they were working on? I know that being social is hard because most people in computer science are rather introverted, and I am the exception to that role, being so ridiculously extroverted. I know it's a lot harder for you than for me, but it's worth it. I have got to know many an introvert, mostly at first against their will, but eventually we become friends. And trust me, those are sometimes the best relationships. Okay, no more blaming. So remember we just talked about the postmortem and how we should not say Alice did this or Bob did that. This is so important. So after I yelled at that guy, no one wanted to talk to me because I was Miss Scary Pants. I wouldn't want to talk to me either. Turned out he did know better. But the point was everyone was scared, no one wanted to tell me anything. And then eventually people started talking to me. And it turned out there's lots of incidents happening I wasn't aware of because people weren't sharing with me. It's really important people feel safe to share with you, so you want to encourage it, not discourage it. One of my previous jobs, I started working somewhere and I reported apparently 28 incidents in the first month. And the director or the manager was like, "We never had any incidents before you were here, Tanya." And I was like, "Actually, you've been on fire for years. You just didn't know. Would you like me to show you where your stuff is for sale on the dark web?" It's just, that's discouraging to me, right? Like, I'm like, "I'm helping, I'm showing you where there's problems." And she was like, "You're making me look bad to my boss." I'm like, "No, because we're gonna fix these things and it's great." And like, you wanna encourage people to tell you stuff, but don't get them to make incidents. Okay, so the last one is you can become a security champion. If you work in security, you can help create security champions. Who here has worked, who here works as their main role being security, right? Okay, how many security champions have you made? Think about this next week, and maybe pick someone who seems somewhat interested and give them a book. Send them a blog post that might interest them. Encourage them, because that might be your newest employee. Okay, lastly, so this is where I'm gonna get weird with you, because this is a thing I do with audiences. I'm gonna make everyone promise with me, because I read a book that said, if you actually say something out loud and promise it, you're 80% likely to actually do it, compared to 0 if you don't. So, the definition of quality must include secure. So security means resilience, learning about security, making sure we get fast feedback, and we have speed in the security that we do. And so I want everyone to raise their right hand with me and repeat this sentence with me. I know our arms are tired because we're working hard for the pizza and I see you over there. Thank you for real, it's okay, I'm very nice. So the definition of quality must include secure. I promise to make security a priority from now on. And now for resources, so that you can all learn about security because it's your new priority. Okay, conclusion. You got this. Okay, if you are moving into DevOps and you want to see what a rough ride we had, we enjoy showing our dirty laundry on the internet. So you can see some of the stories of when Microsoft went to DevOps. It was not perfectly easy and simple. It was actually really hard. Because, we weren't first, but definitely like in the first half. And no, but you can learn from us, and there's security stories in there too. Okay, so the OWASP DevSecOps team has got you. We are making videos of all sorts of the ideas from this talk and things that our audience asks us about, and showing you how to use tools, and just like basically all the questions that you have, we want to know those things too. And so we stream live on the internet once a week. We have tons of videos on YouTube. Everything we do is free because it's OWASP. Mentoring Monday. So who here has worked in security 2 or more years? Congratulations, you know enough to be a mentor. I am running an online mentoring program, and every Monday on Twitter I use this hashtag, Mentoring Monday. And people, junior people that want to get into our industry or that want to change, from incident response, perhaps over to, let's say, AppSec, or almost everyone's like, I want to be a hacker. But if you could teach them, some of them really do want to be an amazing red teamer. But a lot of them, it turns out they love AppSec, they just didn't know that's what it was called. A lot of them want to do incident response, they just didn't know what it was called. And I started in security because I had a mentor. And I have a new professional mentor now, because sometimes you learn all the things that person can teach you, and then they're like, it's my job to introduce you to the next person, right? So I would like to ask all of you that put your hand up a second ago to consider answering these calls on Twitter. So you don't have to publicly whatever, you can just direct message the person, just search this hashtag, and there's like many, many, many people every Monday calling out for help. And even just telling them, you should totally read this book, or follow these 2 accounts, these accounts are great, or like watch this video and this will help you. Any little thing that you do shows them that they're wanted in our industry, and we're facing a giant shortage, right? We all know this, right? Who here wants to work in security but doesn't yet? See, those people, go meet them. We need them. We need their help. Okay, rant over, like that rant. Every Monday, okay. So, resources, me. Follow me. I have a blog, I have 2 blogs, I have a YouTube channel, and I also have a mailing list, and I'm gonna mail it, for real. I haven't yet, but I'm going to. I only started it a few weeks ago. And I'll just send you all my content for free, because that's what I do. And that's like a pretty good deal. There's like talks like this, and articles, and videos, and whatever I'm up to. And it's all about AppSec, DevSecOps. Lately I'm interested in like blockchain-y things, and it's just like whatever I'm currently focused on. Okay, so what have we learned today? So security is now a part of everyone's daily work, because security is everybody's job. Thank you.